At the water's edge, mud quickly steals control from a powerful hunter. From higher ground, a baboon reads the disturbance as an early warning. The savannah links hunter and watcher, each reacting to the other's position. Around heavy prey, strength is challenged by weight, panic, and terrain. Soft ground favors bulk, forcing the cats to judge every approach carefully. As evening lowers, the plain offers cover, or it reduces every animal's certainty. Under darkening trees, concealment becomes both shelter and risk. A lioness waits above the grass, saving energy for a clearer chance. Her low profile lets distance work for her before movement begins. Across open ground, the hunters keep formation while reading the herd ahead. Each pause matters, because a poor choice can waste critical strength. Near water, hippos occupy space that even lions must respect. The bank becomes a border where hunger meets dangerous resistance. A cautious approach shows how predators survive by avoiding needless injury. Here, size and water give the hippos command of the mud. Then movement breaks the standoff, and the cats lose their advantage. Massed bodies close ranks, turning the water hoe into a defensive wall. After the clash, the pride gathers tightly around what struggle has earned. Above the ground, a baboon turns height into early warning. The troop spreads through branches, making surprise far harder below. Within that cover, social bonds keep the group calm and organized. Even scattered in the canopy, they remain connected by position and sound. A still adult watches carefully, letting patience reveal changes around it. On open grass, caution replaces the security of the trees. Each step away from cover increases exposure to unseen predators. Dead branches become pathways, lookouts, and shortcuts through a risky landscape. Among fallen limbs, agility gives baboons options larger animals lack. From one raised perch, a single watcher can protect many foragers. Nearby grazers rely on distance and alertness to share the same plain. Higher shrubs extend the lookout, widening the troop's field of warning. Crossing bare rock, the baboon moves quickly through a vulnerable gap. The next perch restores safety, and the watching cycle continues. Out on the grassland, ostriches use openness instead of cover. Their height lets them survey threats before smaller animals can react. Built for speed, they turn empty space into an escape route. A loose group broadens the view, with each bird scanning another angle. Even while feeding, they keep enough distance to run cleanly. The landscape rewards animals that detect danger before it closes in. Long legs show the economy of a body built for distance. Every raised head briefly checks whether the horizon has changed. At ground level, powerful strides make survival a matter of timing. Feeding continues, but escape remains only a few strides away. Together, the birds create many sightlines across the same open ground. Sparse shade offers comfort, yet visibility remains their true protection. Strong feet are not just full running. They can defend when cornered. The head drops to feed, then rises to keep the rhythm. Farther across the plain, a carcass draws hyenas into tight competition. Their clan's strength lies in numbers, persistence, and bone-crushing jaws. A younger animal watches close by, learning when to wait or press. Around the kill, every approach tests rank as much as hunger. An alert face shows feeding is never separate from watching rivals. Even at rest, the clan keeps measuring opportunities around the carcass. When they gather, pressure builds without any single animal taking charge. A lion's presence changes the terms, but the hyenas hold nearby. Size brings authority, while numbers keep challenging that authority. This uneasy overlap blurs the line between scavenging and hunting. The lion guards space, yet constant pressure forces it to stay vigilant. Close pursuit makes hunger a negotiation, not simply a chase. Each side weighs the meal against the cost of injury. A sudden burst of movement turns patience into open confrontation. The male's display secures space, though it spends precious energy. When the lions ease off, the clan quickly fills the opening. For hyenas, persistence can convert another animal's strength into opportunity. One raised head keeps the group tied to approaching change. The open plain broadens again, shifting attention toward larger travelers. From above, elephant pads reveal memory written across the grass. The herd moves toward water with calves protected inside the group. Close bodies form a moving wall around the smallest animals. Across scattered scrub, elephants spread just enough to feed efficiently. Calves stay near adults, learning routes shaped by many seasons. Their unhurried pace hides detailed knowledge of food, water, and cover. Trunks test the bushes carefully, selecting what the season still offers. In drier ground, shade and browse pull the herd together again. Adults close ranks when calves pass through more crowded cover. Dust, branches, and shade help them manage heat and insects. An adult size shapes the space around every smaller body. Crossing open ground, they maintain contact through touch and position. Beneath the trees, feeding becomes slow work guided by memory. At the edge of cover, the herd keeps its youngest sheltered. Facing outward, adults turn simple arrangements into practical defense. Seen from above, their paths stitch the savannah into a map. Around tall trees, browsers use height where grazers use numbers. A lone antelope holds the grassland, alert beyond the frame. The scene shifts seaward, where another wilderness is shaped by currents. At the surface, calm water hides the movement gathering below. Swells carry signals that seabirds and fish can read before us. Beyond the horizon, depth replaces grass, but the search for food continues. A reef-fringed island marks where open ocean becomes crowded habitat. Sunlight reaches the reef, powering the living structures below. Fish move through coral towers, using structure as shelter and roadway. In blue shadow, reef walls create corridors for movement and concealment. A tight score turns light into confusion for approaching hunters. At the surface, seabirds reveal where hidden food rises. Beneath them, a vast body passes, linking scale with abundance. Corals build slowly, creating shelter that generations of animals inherit. Layered coral forms carve out niches for countless small lives. Among the anemones, shelter is alive, mobile, and armed. Clownfish survive by entering defenses that would repel most visitors. Their bright colors sit within a partnership built on tolerance. Close to the tentacles, they can feed while watching the reef. The anemone's sting becomes protection, not danger, for its residents. Current moves the tentacles, expanding a living barrier around them. Even small fish stay safest near the anemone's center. Familiar pathways let them pass through stinging cover without hesitation, leaving that cover would turn a brief swim into exposure. A close pass shows adaptation, working at the scale of skin. Around them, other reef life competes for the same stable space. Here, position matters, where food-rich current meets immediate retreat. Tucked in shadow, the fish uses tentacles as layered defense. One shelter can support several residents, if each knows its place. Across the reef floor, small territories repeat, wherever anemones settle. A quick return keeps the fish near the safest part of home. Fields of tentacles show how living habitat can reshape risk. Dependence becomes an advantage when the barrier itself defends them. The reef's complexity gives small animals choices about where to hide. Beside larger neighbors, the clownfish survives by staying close to cover. In brighter shallows, the partnership continues under shifting light. Even tiny fish can hold territory when shelter is reliable. Pale tentacles reveal how color and texture vary across the reef. Beyond the anemone, open water offers food and greater exposure. Now blue tangs cross the reef, grazing while staying near structure. Flattened bodies slip through gaps larger predators cannot follow. Each turn is precise, conserving energy against the current. Reef corridors let speed and shelter work together through narrow passages. Mixed traffic shows many species sharing the same narrow routes. Different defenses meet here, yet both depend on coral structure. In deeper blue, speed becomes the tang's answer to open space. Passing anemones and coral, it moves between pockets of safety. The reef fades into blue distance, held together by countless connections. The reef's maze now favors a hunter built for flexibility. Tucked against coral, the octopus lets texture hide its outline. Beneath overhangs, soft arms explore openings to narrow for rivals. Color shifts make exposed moments less risky among patterned coral. Close to the rock, its eye stays alert to changing traffic. It slips forward because speed is unnecessary when concealment already works. Each arm tests the surface, turning contact into information. A tang passes, while the octopus trusts stillness over open flight. Back inside the reef, camouflage makes the animal almost part of it. Among corals, small changes in posture become another form of defense. The reef floor looks quiet, yet every crevice can hold strategy. Beyond this shelter, blue water exposes animals to a different danger. Larger fish gather where movement, not hiding, decides each opportunity. A shark patrols below, using patience to close uncertain distances. Schooling fish keep distance tight, making any single target harder. The predator rises beneath them, turning open water into pressure. Nearby, faster fish hold formation until one path breaks clear. From below, the scene shows how quickly spacing can change. Around human structures, fish still use numbers to confuse pursuit. Lines and bait reveal how opportunity can draw predators from below. The shark circles back, testing the edges of the moving crowd. Small fish surge together, their best defense written in timing. In the blue distance, a lone shark measures the open space. A close pass shows power held in reserve, not wasted. At the surface, calm water hides the traffic moving underneath. From above, pale tracks reveal animals cutting through the swell. More bodies join the pattern, turning scattered breaths into a route. Underwater, dolphins appear, built for speed and shared direction. Their formation tightens, keeping the group connected through open blue. Seen from above, their movement writes a map across the sea. Even when spread out, the pod keeps contact through motion. Surface ripples show where breath and travel meet again. Below the glare, dolphins move beside fish coordinated layers. Their turns are quick, yet the group keeps a steady purpose. The sea seems vast, but repeated surfacing marks an invisible path. One dolphin glides close, revealing a body shaped for entrance. Above, the pod divides and rejoins without losing its direction. Beneath them, schooling fish scatter around the dolphin's moving line. A dolphin rises through light, trading depth for another breath. Others cross the frame, keeping pace in a shifting blue corridor. From high above, every splash becomes part of the group's signal. The surface breaks repeatedly, marking bodies that remain linked below. Dark water closes over them, yet the pattern continues. Then larger shapes appear, slowing the rhythm without leaving open water. In deeper blue, size changes the story from speed to endurance. A giant rises just below the surface, carrying deep breath upward. Beside a human swimmer, the whale's scale becomes immediately plain. At the surface, the group keeps formation across sunlit water. A whale breaks through, exposing breadth and strength in one movement. Its pale head glides below, larger than the wake above. Underwater, companions keep close where sound travels farther than sight. A single body rises, showing the effort behind each breath. Several whales move together, their spacing steady across the blue. The group advances slowly, turning the open sea into shared passage. From above, one surfacing whale reveals another shadow traveling below. From above, dolphins regather, each pailback marking the shared route. Another surfacing breaks the pattern, bringing hidden scale into daylight. Alone again, one whale moves as a shadow beneath the skin. A plume of white water makes its breath visible for seconds. The body slides on, converting massive strength into quiet motion. At the surface, a spout marks the exact moment of renewal. Beneath the glitter, the whale's outline fades back into blue. From above, its track remains visible longer than the animal itself. Below darker water, the head moves forward with unhurried control. A close breath sends spray upward as the whale reaches air. Facing the surface, its body seems almost to large four waves. The blue giant passes below, using length to conserve effort. It rises again, linking depth and air in one slow movement. Spray crowns the back, then quickly falls into the surrounding sea. Below, the whale resumes the rhythm that carries it onward. Its shape fades into blue, leaving only a faint direction. Another surface mark suggests company moving beyond the frame. The next whale appears, repeating a pattern shaped by breath. Beside a small boat, the animal's scale becomes unmistakable. After it passes, the sea keeps only spreading rings of movement. Underwater, the tail and body vanish into darker open space. From above, a pale back curves through its own wake. The turn leaves a circular scar, briefly mapping the whale's path. Beneath the surface, massive bodies become quiet and almost weightless. The water closes again, returning the ocean to distance. New splashes ahead signal a sharper kind of coordination arriving. Orcas move beneath the surface, where teamwork replaces solitary size. At the surface, their turns focus pressure into one moving point. White water reveals contact, breath, and strategy at the same time. The pod holds a line, keeping the action concentrated ahead. A violent burst shows the hunt reaching its closest visible moment. When the foam spreads, the animals have already shifted position. Calmer water returns, leaving the hunt absorbed back into distance. Ahead, island horizons begin carrying the story toward shore. Back in the reef, a cuttlefish hovers using fins and camouflage. Schooling fish surround a larger body, turning currents into cover. A low shoreline appears, shifting the open sea toward coast. Waves meet rock and horizon, linking ocean routes to land. On land, large grazers face the same exposure, without water's cover. Yet the reef continues nearby, where turtles move through layered shelter. Zebras and wildbus gather, using numbers to watch the plains. In sand, an octopus turns a shell into a hidden doorway. Offshore turbulence echoes the same rule. Movement attracts attention. Cheetahs wait in grass, built for speed when distance opens. A diver beside a ray shows another ocean giant passing calmly. A sailfish patrols baitfish, using speed and a narrow profile. Antelope keep apart, spreading risk across the open grass. Zebras cluster near cover, their stripes breaking outlines in the herd. Giraffes browse in the distance, adding height to the plane's warning system. A track cuts through scrub, showing where animals and people travel. A male lion rests by the road, conserving power in heat. The pride walks together, social strength replacing solitary pursuit. In thicker cover, the lioness uses shade to soften her outline. The male watches from scrub, ready without spending unnecessary energy. Another lion rests nearby, trusting cover and companions for warning. His dark mane signals maturity, but patience remains the first tactic. As lionesses gather, the pride's advantage becomes quiet cooperation. The male's still gaze reads movement long before any chase. When he steps out, strength is measured rather than rushed. Thick mane and slow pasture project control across this territory. Beyond the lions, harsh country reminds us why energy matters. In the grass, the male listens more than he moves. Lionesses cluster close by, sharing rest while keeping awareness alive. The pride sprawls in shade, saving effort for brief decisive action. Dry ridges and roads frame the range these animals must cover. From above, distance shows how open habitat tests every hunter. A pale lion lies low, turning stillness into security. His white coat is rare, but his survival depends on ordinary caution. Resting in grass, he wastes nothing, while the day remains hot. Nearby companions reinforce safety, making rest a collective act. A pale lioness dozes, protected by cover and the pride's presence. The male settles deeper in shade, still alert beneath calm. Another lioness watches from grass, holding the same quiet readiness. The final gaze leaves the pride waiting until conditions change. The waiting continues, with a pale lion reading the open grass ahead. Beside her, the male's presence turns quiet rest into shared security. A young pale lion stays hidden, learning patience before strength truly matters. Adults hold the line nearby, their closeness reinforcing this fragile calm. Her watchful face shows rest here still depends on constant awareness. Even without movement, each gaze checks wind, cover, and hidden risk. In the shade, the pride lowers danger by resting together. A pale male keeps his head raised, guarding the paws from distance. Male and female share the same ground, balancing trust with vigilance. His pale mane stands out, so cover becomes protection rather than camouflage. Beyond the pride, the valley reveals the scale of their range. Open plains and wetlands decide where lions can move unseen. A dark-maned male rests near females, anchoring the group's confidence. Seen in profile, he watches while conserving the power he may need. When he takes the track, territory becomes something actively maintained. His steady walk broadcasts ownership without wasting any unnecessary energy. Close companionship allows them to rest, but never to ignore rivals. The mane signals maturity, making confrontation costly before it begins. Rest in taller grass preserves strength, while keeping watch over roots. Through scattered cover, he moves slowly enough to read every scent. His attention stays outward, where wind carries news from the plain. Even sleep serves survival, timed for heat and safer daylight hours. Against the dry grass, a single lion marks a much wider claim. Another male joins the frame, reminding rivals this ground is defended. Their meeting is measured, more assessment than conflict for now. The wider land offers water, cover, and the distances between them. Water draws life together, but it also concentrates risk. A lioness crosses dry ground, choosing shade and cover carefully. Grooming in green shade keeps bonds intact during the hottest hours. Nearby, another lioness waits where shelter softens heat and exposure. A close watch through branches turns concealment into information. Leaves break his outline, but his eyes remain fixed ahead. Several lions spread across the bank, each holding a different angle. At the waterline, other animals reveal how shared resources shape encounters. A brief clash between lionesses renews rank without breaking the group. Her scarred face shows survival written in muscle, dust, and age. The females advance together, spreading attention through the scrub. The male pauses again, conserving force while the pride remains nearby. At water, thirst must be balanced with the need to watch. Around the pool, distance lets each animal manage risk separately. The mountains beyond frame every movement within a much older landscape. Ridges and canyons channel travel long before predators choose a path. Back among the lions, A young male faces the day directly. Paired bodies show how companionship steadies life on contested ground. His gaze carries calm authority, though the watch has not ended. Low in grass, he lets cover do part of the work. Resting together, adults maintain alliances that matter when food or rivals appear. The mane almost disappears in dry stems, but attention remains sharp. A small open mouth may test scent, adding detail to the air. Seen from behind, he remains tuned to what approaches unseen. The day slows, and his stillness becomes another form of control. Then the route opens, giving him a clear path through cover. Shade allows a full-grown male to hold strength in reserve. From high ground, the territory widens into layered escarpments and plains. As light fades, the rules begin to shift in the lion's favor. In darkness, sight narrows, but sense and hearing gain importance. A resting male waits low, letting the night reveal movement first. His outline blends with grass, useful cover for approaching larger prey. A pale lioness becomes muted by dusk, no longer exposed by color. Deep shade hides his body, while his eyes remain fixed outward. Buffalo appear in the gloom, heavy, alert, and dangerous together. Their horns and bulk explain why lions avoid reckless attacks. Facing forward, the herd uses numbers as its first defense. Even in darkness, the group keeps formation against hidden predators. A lone front can look isolated, yet the herd remains near. Under trees, buffalo keep moving, denying predators a simple opening. A raised muzzle and open mouth suggest scent work before risk. Across the grass, the herd's mass makes patience essential. Only confusion or separation can turn this strength into vulnerability. At close range, predator and prey meet as force against force. A male holds low beside the fallen buffalo, gripping his chance. After the struggle, breath and muscle settle around the prize. Beyond them, the herd regroups, still safer as one body. Their movement closes gaps, protecting the vulnerable from another attempt. The male watches from the edge, unable to waste another move. Across open ground, the buffalo stream away as a dark wall. His stare follows them, measuring what the night still offers. The herd holds together, turning many bodies into collective strength. In tall grass, a fallen animal draws lions into the open. The male closes in, using weight where speed alone cannot win. A buffalo goes down, and the contest becomes a test of grip. In cover, the lions settle into the difficult work of feeding. By dawn, the night battle gives way to a quieter landscape. A lone tree marks the open plain where the struggle unfolded. Morning light restores detail to a face worn by effort. He moves again, reclaiming the route after the night's exertion. With companions nearby, recovery becomes another shared defense for the pride. Together, their presence advertises strength without requiring a challenge. At water, the pride returns to needs that follow every hunt. Younger lions move through brush, learning paths adults already know. A male rests at the front, while others hold the shade behind. The group gathers tightly, turning shade into a social refuge. Even alone in open grass, he keeps the horizon under watch. When males come together, small signals can decide whether tension rises. Their world stretches far beyond the fight, across grass and water. So each pause matters, linking local choices to a wider territory. Another steady approach shows movement returning to the day's measured rhythm. The face stays calm, but the direction of travel remains deliberate. On rock, height gives a resting male both breeze and advantage. In deeper cover, the heat pulls him back into stillness. His gaze stays outward, keeping the pride connected to the plain. From above, green corridors reveal where lions can travel unseen. Back in grass, he uses low cover without hurrying forward. Shade dapples his body, masking shape while heat drains away. A lioness watches close by, carrying the same disciplined patience. Near water birds, lions show that hunting is never constant. The male stretches in dust, saving effort for moments that matter. A seated lioness holds her post, alert to movement beyond cover. His scarred muzzle records past contests better than any display. As they move together, pair bonds help stabilize the pride. The pride spreads under trees, each lion choosing shade and sightline. His profile returns to the distance, where scent and movement converge. Across the wetland, the group appears small within its habitat. In shade, resting bodies turn recovery into the afternoon's main work. Even resting, the male's marked face keeps history in view. Through leaves, a lioness listens and scents before committing herself. The male advances again, turning recovered energy into purposeful movement. Nearby prey remains alert, proof that calm can change quickly. A lone lioness crosses grass, managing exposure with every step. Back in the grass, cubs pull the story toward its future. At the water's edge, a mother balances drinking and watchfulness. A cub disappears into taller grass, testing cover on a smaller scale. Hidden low, the young learn that stillness can be protection. Milk and warmth bind the cubs to the pride's safest body. Their mother watches nearby, turning soft cover into a nursery. Play begins as practice, with paws learning force and restraint. Among siblings, early confidence grows through contact more than distance. The group settles around them, making childhood a collective responsibility. For now, the pride's future rests quietly inside the grass. After nursing, the pride's world widens beyond shade into shared hunting ground. Warthogs feed openly, where every mouthful must be balanced against exposure. From cover, a lioness studies that movement without wasting energy too soon. Farther out, the foragers keep working the grass, despite the risks. Her advance is slow, because concealment matters more than early speed. Family ties keep the lions gathered, while adults judge the changing ground. On the track, movement becomes visible, and the hunt loses some cover. Back in scrub, a patient cat can disappear, almost completely again. Another predator waits nearby, showing this territory is never owned by one hunter. Wild dogs use the road differently, turning open space into coordination. The lionesses remain calm, reading rivals and prey before committing strength. Close by, the dog listens for cues the pack can answer quickly. When paths cross, speed and numbers test the cat's usual authority. A cub watches from grass, learning danger before it fully understands it. Open plains reveal how far every decision can carry across this landscape. Yet tall grass can hide a hunter until movement gives it away. The pride rests together, conserving strength while the young remain protected. A lone lioness keeps watch, linking the nursery to the wider plain. Hidden in grass, a cub practices stillness before independence begins. The male's presence adds weight, but vigilance still shapes every moment. His gaze measures distance, scent, and threat across the pride's range. A lioness faces the open ground, choosing caution before any pursuit. From above, water concentrates life into corridors of opportunity and danger. Below the surface, crocodiles make still water a concealed hunting ground. At the shoreline, patience becomes the crocodile's most effective weapon. Mud and water hide bulk that could erupt without warning. Where predators share a bank, even drinking can demand calculation. A lion enters shallow water, crossing where each step may matter. Ripples expose only fragments, while the real danger remains mostly unseen. The crocodile's eyes hold position, waiting for closeness to change the odds. Along the bank, stillness keeps the ambush hidden inside ordinary water. The lions cross together, reducing risk by refusing to linger alone. One male pushes through, showing power does not remove vulnerability here. Beyond him, the bank stays quiet, but the danger has not passed. Sudden contact reveals how quickly water can challenge a land predator. Once clear, the male returns to cover and recovers his margin. Retreat is strategy here, preserving strength after a costly boundary is tested. Other males rest beside the road, letting presence signal ownership. Brief softness returns to the landscape before the story shifts terrain. Clouds gather over open country, marking a wider seasonal canvas ahead. Dry rock and sand introduce a harsher version of survival. In desert light, a lion's patience becomes as important as power. A male feeds sparingly, using shade and stillness to manage heat. Wide grassland contrasts with the desert waiting just beyond the horizon. A single tree offers shade, structure, and a rare gathering point. The land opens into dryness, where distance itself becomes an obstacle. On bare ground, resting is an adaptation, rather than simple idleness. Together, lions save energy until cooler hours make movement practical. Even sparse green patches can decide where hunters and prey meet. A lioness searches near shrubs, where shade may hide either food or danger. Wind writes the desert's record in tracks that vanish by morning. The dunes stretch outward, reducing shelter to shape, shadow, and timing. In low sun, a young lion pauses, where heat finally begins to ease. As evening falls, the desert briefly returns movement to the possible. From above, footprints show how carefully life crosses the sand. Camels move in lines, linking distant resources across the dunes. Resting beside loads, they show how endurance supports human journeys here. Across empty sand, a lone rider depends on pace more than speed. Adults and young feed together, finding moisture in stubborn desert plants. Close up, the camel's calm hides a body built for scarcity. A calf stays beside its mother, learning routes through unforgiving country. Caravans cross ridges where landmarks shift and direction must be remembered. Small plants reveal where dunes still allow feeding and shade. Rolling sand shows why every patch of life becomes valuable. Desert antelope survive by saving water and choosing activity carefully. Pale coats and curved horns mark bodies tuned for glaring heat. Together, the herd spreads watchfulness across many eyes and angles. Where forage appears, feeding continues only because others keep watch. Young and adults move in loose contact, sharing warning across distance. Each animal keeps space to turn, run, and rejoin if startled. Lowered heads feed, while raised ears keep the wider world measured. The face seems calm, yet every pause remains ready for alarm. Rest in shade saves water, the desert's most unforgiving currency. Even while grazing, they hold enough distance for sudden escape. Open savanna returns, and with it the dominance of large cats. A male lion patrols the edge, using visibility as a warning. His profile carries information, from strength to readiness, without confrontation. He steps out from cover, turning presence into territorial pressure. Two males share the road, making their alliance visible to rivals. The pride rests nearby, where social bonds reduce conflict and conserve energy. From a rise, one male watches the country before moving again. Along the track, his movement leaves scent where others will read it. His eyes narrow on the plain, sorting motion from background noise. Walking openly can be a message when confidence supports the risk. Grass breaks his outline, giving even a dominant male useful concealment. Beyond the stems, another lion moves low through changing light. Rocky outcrops become watchtowers where males can rest and survey. From height, the coalition sees farther while remaining hard to approach. One male holds the ridge alone, making stillness part of authority. Lionesses use the rocks as shelter, lookout, and training ground. Younger cats follow uncertain paths, gaining balance before hunting demands precision. Every step on stone turns play into practice for harder terrain. In darkness, the lions become harder to separate from the bush. Low light favors cats, shifting the advantage toward hearing and scent. A male emerges on the road as the heat finally loosens. Together, lions move through night, when familiar ground changes character. Sunset lowers the horizon, and daytime rules begin to fade. Tall grass blurs the view, giving hunters a softer approach. A lioness listens ahead, gathering clues before the next movement. Her call carries across open ground, keeping contact within the pride. Buffalo appear in the shadows, changing the balance with sheer mass. A lion moves behind them, searching for weakness along the edge. Dust rises as the herd closes ranks around its strongest defense. At this distance, one wrong step could punish predator or prey. The herd's stare warns that bulk can turn defense into danger. Warthogs return to feed, their piglets staying within quick reach. Beside elephants, smaller animals benefit from watchful giants nearby. Across the open, warthogs keep feeding while escape routes remain close. Wide spacing lets each animal react before panic reaches the group. One warthog pauses, balancing hunger against the need to flee. Together they form a loose alarm system across the grass. Browsing continues only while heads lift often enough to check danger. Tall stems make hiding easier for hunters and harder for prey. This constant negotiation shapes every feeding bout on the plain. Lionesses appear again, turning those warnings into a careful approach. Low bodies and lifted heads show patience before any final move. They pause in grass, letting wind and distance settle first. The group keeps low, using cover before the next decision. A lone lioness holds her line through grass, trusting cover and stillness. Across the field, the pride moves slowly enough to stay hidden. At close range, every step is measured against the grass ahead. Under trees, shade gives the hunters a place to regroup quietly. A warthog crosses open ground, exposed, but close to possible escape. Near water, fallen wood and mud create confusing cover for everyone. The pride approaches in warm light, spread enough to read danger. A warthog slips into its burrow, turning earth into protection. A hyena waits among trees, ready to use whatever others leave. The plain widens again, placing each encounter inside a larger map. In the end, the male remains watchful, anchoring the pride's presence. The male's gaze fixes the scene, keeping the pride's claim unmistakable. Blood on his mane shows the recent kill still defines the moment. Beside him, the lioness reads the air before any movement begins. In grass and shadow, patience becomes the pride's most useful weapon. Then hyenas arrive, drawn by scent and the chance of leftovers. Their confidence rises as more bodies gather around the same reward. Close to the carcass, feeding becomes a negotiation of rank. The clan spreads wider, using numbers to soften every risk. Each muzzle searches the grass, turning scraps into hard-earned energy. Together, they can challenge a meal no individual could hold alone. Even scattered, the group keeps one purpose around the carcass. Beyond them, warthogs return to quieter ground and safer cover. Their sturdy bodies are built for digging, defense, and quick escape. Near the trees, distance gives them time to read danger. A lowered snout turns the soil into food and information. Under shade, the group feeds while keeping retreat routes open. Side by side, they work the grass without dropping their guard. Every pause matters, because open feeding always invites attention. In close quarters, tusks and scent guide their careful searching. The lions reappear nearby, and the balance of safety shifts again. A call carries from the male, marking presence beyond sight. His face behind the trunk turns cover into quiet control. Out on the plain, he moves only when the light allows. Through tall grass, his mane breaks the outline just enough. Each stride is measured, conserving power for moments that matter. Close in, even his mane becomes a screen of concealment. As darkness gathers, the landscape loses shape and certainty. Heavy grazers begin their night routes, anchored by nearby water. A hippo's bulk rises from shadow, safer near the river. Beyond the bank, feeding at night reduces heat and exposure. The herd rests low, trusting darkness and mass for protection. Only eyes and nostrils betray the animal waiting in cover. In thorny shade, a hippo holds the margin before moving. Nearby, lions lie low, listening for what the night reveals. A mother and cubs stay close, their safety tied to stillness. The pride gathers quietly, choosing rest over unnecessary pursuit. When lion and hippo share space, strength keeps distance honest. The hippo's massive head reminds the hunters where caution begins. A young lion follows behind, learning boundaries from bulk and risk. Helmeted guinea-fowl pick through darkness, exploiting what larger animals disturb. Around them, different bodies cross the same narrow night corridor. A lioness slips past shadow, staying clear of dangerous weight. The hippo keeps moving, claiming room without needing speed. A plunge into water restores the refuge its body depends on. Daylight returns, and the river becomes the hippo's daytime shelter. Water supports their weight, while sun presses hard on land. With only their head exposed, breathing and vigilance stay efficient. Ears and eyes sit high, letting the body remain hidden. A swimming hippo turns the channel into an easy passage. Birds share the surface, benefiting from a disturbed wet edge. Back on land, baboons watch the shoreline before spreading out. Higher branches offer the troop escape, shade, and a better view. Below the trees, scattered foragers stay connected by constant attention. Across dry grass, the troop moves with order rather than hurry. Close grooming reinforces bonds that make group vigilance possible. A fallen limb becomes a meeting place, lookout, and path. Young climbers test their balance, where danger is easier to avoid. On the ground, the troop widens its search for food. Families keep pace together, turning many eyes into protection. At the water's edge, shade and drinking roots draw them back. Near the termite mound, resting still leaves one eye on danger. The trees divide the troop, but calls keep the group linked. Open ground demands faster decisions, because shelter lies farther away. They regroup by the trunks, using familiar cover as strategy. One baboon rises in the brush, checking what others cannot see. Another holds to the tree, ready to climb if needed. From above, the water hose shows why so many paths converge. Around one tree, the troop uses shade as a social center. Scattered individuals keep distance, yet their attention still overlaps. The bank becomes a shared boundary between feeding and safety. Branches provide another layer, letting movement continue above risk. A climber crosses the limbs, turning height into freedom. The view widens, revealing water as the dry seasons anchor. Beyond the pool, tracks show repeated journeys through thirsty ground. Farther away, the river's force reshapes the whole country. Dry plains stretch outward, showing how scarce water organizes life. A small pool holds its value even in broad emptiness. Then falls and rainbow reveal abundance concentrated in one place. Away from the spray, grasslands return to a harsher rhythm. The gorge answers with power, feeding mist into surrounding forest. In open savannah, trees stand like markers for moving animals. Pale tracks cut the ground, recording the search for water. Above the falls, spray turns river energy into hidden moisture. Back at the pool, calm water gathers life again. Reflections soften the scene, but resources still decide movement. Channels spread through green cover, linking shelter to drinking places. The river keeps dividing and joining, shaping every route nearby. At the edge, waterbuck step into the story's quiet attention. Their shaggy coats blend with reeds, but their ears stay busy. A bull watches from cover, weighing stillness against retreat. With horns forward, he turns vigilance into a visible warning. His white rump patch helps the herd keep contact in grass. Near trees, he holds shade while scanning the open side. Crossing golden grass, he spends energy only when movement matters. Thicker cover offers concealment, though it also narrows his view. He pauses again, letting scent and sound finish the survey. Then he resumes, keeping water and escape within reach. A closer look shows alert eyes, set above steady feeding. Ground hornbills take over, hunting slowly through brittle grass. Their red faces stand out, while their bodies melt into shade. Each deliberate step may flush hidden insects or small reptiles. Across the open, a quick lift carries one bird forward. Nearby, a jackal searches alone, taking smaller chances in daylight. The hornbill lowers its bill, probing where movement just disappeared. Among the trunks, patience remains its greatest hunting advantage. From above, the search becomes part of a wider dry map. At the shore, small birds work mud, newly left exposed. Beyond them, rough country shows how far water's pull extends. Dead trees mark the bank, offering perches and warnings. Rocky hills close around the woodland, adding refuge and constraint. Channels and trees reappear, guiding movement through the dry basin. High in a tree, a baboon claims the safer route. Its perch above the water hoe keeps both food and threats visible. A road cuts through scrub, adding a human route across old ones. Open savanna returns, with scattered animals spread between trees. At sunset, grazers use cooler hours to feed more safely. The landscape broadens again, carrying herds across greener patches. Zebras enter the cover, where stripes break the body line. Moving together, they keep visual contact across the open grass. Close feeding works because the herd still watches at the edge. Baboons and zebras share the frame, each using numbers differently. Now giraffes appear, reaching above the grassland's lower competition. Their height turns feeding into surveillance for the animals nearby. Browsing through shrubs, they take leaves other grazers cannot reach. A tall body disappears partly into cover, without losing view. A young giraffe's head rises cautiously from the golden grass. Close to its mother, the calf finds shelter beneath height. Alone in green, it carries the next generation forward. From the grass, a lioness begins measuring the day's first chances. Her stillness saves energy, while every sound helps locate movement nearby. Beyond her, giraffes keep browsing, relying on height for warning. Their tall silhouettes show how feeding and vigilance happen together. The story widens to water, where elephants must share exposed ground. A single adult enters carefully, testing depth before committing weight. At the bank, trunk, and memory guide each cautious step. Even drinking becomes a decision shaped by mud, distance, and balance. Across the pool, the shoreline gathers many lives into one stage. Hippos choose the water surface, hiding bulk beneath a cooling refuge. Only backs and nostrils show, conserving energy through the heat. Pelicans arrive where shallow water can concentrate fish within reach. Nearby, a hippo holes through mud, carrying water onto land. Elephants return from cover, following routes remembered across dry seasons. Together, the herd makes drinking safer through size and closeness. Beside them, pelicans keep feeding in the disturbed shallows. From above, the floodplain reveals paths carved by repeated thirst. Back in the trees, a lioness turns height into advantage. Her branch offers shade, rest, and a view over the grass. From that perch, patience becomes part of the hunt's preparation. Every pause preserves strength for moments when movement will matter. Below, zebras move through cover, their stripes breaking hard outlines. A giraffe lifts its head, extending the watch above dry grass. The lioness reads those movements from a shaded position overhead. On the ground again, she trades height for concealment. Now each step depends on cover, wind, and careful distance. The riverine edge gives her shadows before any open approach. A bird lifts from the flats, unsettled by shoreline movement. Its flight traces the boundary where feeding and escape overlap. Even small birds read changes long before larger animals react. At the shallows, pelicans churn the surface into a feeding line. Their wings turn disturbance into momentum across the water's edge. Together they bunch tightly, making the pull work in their favor. Above them, a fish eagle surveys the same corridor from height. The trees hold quieter roots between open water and woodland. Zebras drink beside baboons, a truce held by shared need. Reflections soften the scene, but every lowered head remains vulnerable. Baboons spread along the bank, keeping escape routes within reach. Their troop relies on many eyes, where size gives little protection. A fish eagle waits above, watching opportunity move below. Its flight crosses the pool, linking ripples with possible prey. Pelicans live together, using water as a difficult runway. Once airborne, the flock carries the pool's energy outward. Their line stretches low, connecting feeding grounds with safer air. On shore, a hornbill searches where insects gather in loosened soil. Its long bill turns probing into a precise feeding tool. Near dung and dust, patience reveals what speed would miss. Each pause lets the bird test texture before choosing the next strike. Small scrapes add up, opening hidden food beneath the surface. After feeding, the hornbill scans before committing to open ground. It moves lightly on, leaving the disturbed patch behind. The tree line brings the lioness back into a higher refuge. Here, waiting is safer than spending energy without certainty. Below, elephants pass through grass, loosening cover as they feed. Her elevated view follows those changes across the woodland edge. Another branch holds a watchful primate, sharing the same lookout. For baboons, height adds safety without removing the need for vigilance. Nearby trees gather grazers and primates into overlapping comfort zones. Across the water, hidden shapes remind the bank is never empty. The margin stays restless, even when most movement is barely visible. Small ripples mark the pool's hidden traffic beneath the surface. A pelican breaks hard, turning wings into waterborne resistance. Its landing unsettles the quiet, sending signals across the pool. For birds nearby, every splash can reveal food or danger. A stork feeds close to crocodiles, working the edge carefully. Open jaws help a crocodile shed heat while warning everything nearby. Motionless bodies still reshape the choices of birds around them. In deeper water, low profiles turn danger into almost nothing. From above, crocodiles divide the pool with invisible territories. Zebras drink in formation, lowering risk while lowering their heads. The herd's pattern keeps watchfulness alive around the waterline. Nearby lions move through grass, returning tension to the open plain. A male steps forward, presence doing more work than speed. His mane signals status, but his stillness saves essential energy. In open light, he surveys territory shaped by water and shade. Each pause lets him read scent, sound, and distant movement. Under broken cover, power becomes less visible, but no less present. Rest here is strategy, not idleness. In a demanding landscape, close up, his calm face reveals the patience behind predation. As heat lingers, even dominance waits for better timing. He settles low, one quiet force among many at the waterhole. Wading birds return, feeding where shallow water exposes small prey. A stork works alone, using soft mud left by larger feet. Long legs keep its body clear, while its bill surges below. In thicker growth, the same technique turns vegetation into opportunity. Step by step, it follows the edge where prey concentrates. Other waders join, spacing themselves by depth and feeding style. Together, their different bills divide the shallows without direct conflict. The waterhole grows crowded, compressing birds, grazers, and hidden hunters. Wildbeasts arrive in numbers, using the herd as living protection. Elephants and grazers share the bank, never fully relaxing there. With heads lowered, drinking becomes one of their riskiest moments. Mud slows the herd, but close bodies maintain collective pressure. One animal pushes through water, testing a route for others. Calves stay near adults, learning the rhythm of the moving herd. Beyond the bank, wildbeasts spread back towards safer open ground. The group keeps flowing, replacing danger with distance again. Their hooves churn the margin, leaving signs for later visitors. Away from water, a ground bird lifts its head above grass. Its camouflage works best when stillness hides the body's outline. Moving slowly, it feeds while keeping the horizon within view. A raised neck turns the bird into its own lookout. Open country rewards caution, even during an ordinary search for food. Every pause helps it scan before lowering its head again. Among dry stems, the bird vanishes more easily than it travels. Head high once more, it checks for change before feeding. An elephant descends to red earth, following water-shaped paths. In the thicket, trunk and tusks pull nutrition from cover. Close details reveal a tool both powerful and extraordinarily sensitive. Across greener ground, an adult walks with measured experience. Branches bend under pressure as woodland becomes a steady meal. Each pull opens cover and changes what other animals can use. Partly hidden, the elephant keeps feeding where shade holds moisture. Even a footstep writes new paths into the dusty ground. Toward evening, elephants spread through green pockets under softer light. Cooler hours return movement to the land after the heat. Wrinkled skin and long-lashed show adaptation to dust and sun. At the water, baboons take their turn among larger neighbors. Elephant and baboon share space, each protected by different strengths. Young baboons practice movement near the bank under many watching eyes. A tiny youngster stays close, where alarm can travel quickly. Drinking together gives the troop both water and collective awareness. Across open ground, they move as a loose, flexible network. A verved pauses under trees, balancing curiosity with caution. At the edge, primates measure safety before returning to drink. Grooming holds the group together, turning contact into protection. Infants learn those bonds through hands that feed, clean, and guard. Higher branches offer refuge as evening pulls activity toward shelter. On fallen limbs, the troop settles into the day's final light. After the primates withdraw, waterbirds reveal how life follows remaining moisture. Zebras gather close, using stripes and attention to reduce individual risk. Beyond them, wildbusts press forward, their movement turning grazing into migration. Across the plain, the herd spreads, where grass still supports numbers. A calf stays near the adults, learning safety inside the moving crowd. As evening approaches, feeding continues because every crossing will demand strength. Golden light softens the herd, but their need for grass remains urgent. Night brings storms and shadow, changing open country into uncertain ground. Under darkness, even familiar trees become markers of shelter and risk. River corridors hold the next challenge, where water gathers life after dusk. In the blackout between scenes, the savannah's hidden dangers prepare to surface. A crocodile waits almost motionless, conserving power beneath a shallow muddy veil. Even elephants share these edges, where thirst compresses many species together. Their size opens space, yet the river still demands careful negotiation. Nearby grazers feed and watch, keeping distance between food and danger. From above, crocodiles patrol the channel, where hesitation can become fatal. On bare mud, a crocodile rests, after turning patience into advantage. Across the flats, wildbusts regroup, drawn onward by grass and water. Zebras pause among the herd, reading movements before committing to open ground. At the river bank, migration narrows into one tense, crowded crossing. The pressure builds as thousands follow the first bodies toward water. Once the front enters, those behind are carried forward by momentum, hooves churn dust and mud, turning uncertainty into a collective surge. Zebras join wildbust at the edge, sharing a danger neither avoids. Steep banks punish hesitation, so each animal scrambles for higher ground. From above, the herd becomes a current flowing around the river. Where water bends, hidden predators wait for disorder to expose weakness. Farther downstream, the crossing stretches out, scattering risk across the channel. Zebras enter in line, trusting numbers more than any single path. Dust follows the swimmers, marking how many still must cross behind. At the crowded bank, urgency replaces choice as bodies press together. Zebras hold the shallows, their stripes breaking shape amid spray and dust. The river grows rougher here, turning every step into a test. Yet the line keeps forming, because stopping only lengthens the danger. Some reach deeper water, while others still hesitate on the sand. At the busy stage, panic and purpose become hard to separate. Through brown water, the herd pushes on toward the far bank. Zebras burst through the shallows, exchanging river danger for exposed ground. Small birds feed beside the river, profiting from turmoil larger animals create. Nearby, a lion waits in shadow, watching abundance with measured restraint. The male's slow movement says enough, saving energy for moments that matter. In close view, his stillness carries the authority of a territorial adult. The pride moves along the track, using numbers to widen opportunity. Through tall grass, lionesses keep low as the light begins to fade. Cubs stay among adults, learning the pride's roots from every pause. The male rests in gold light, conserving strength rather than spending it. His mane catches the sun, signaling maturity without any need for pursuit. Beyond the hunters, baboons restore order through grooming and close contact. Small disputes settle quickly, because troop life depends on constant negotiation. On open tracks, baboons move together, turning numbers into security. Pauses on the road, let adults scan, while youngsters remain close. Infants cling and climb, practicing balance under the troop's watchful tolerance. As light lowers, social contact becomes as important as feeding. By the water, the troop spreads carefully, testing space before settling. Young baboons foraging cover, copying adults through repeated small choices. Against the dusk, a small group rests within reach of safety. Acacia shadows stretch across the plain, closing another cycle of movement. The trees hold the horizon, linking feeding grounds to evening shelter. A lone silhouette marks distance, scale, and the openness every animal faces. With the sun higher, the savannah resets for another day. Morning heat rises over scrub, drawing animals back into visible movement. Beyond the ridges, valleys show where water still shapes the landscape. Low rivers braid through green corridors, guiding life across dry country. From above, tracks and channels reveal how animals memorize the plain. Scattered trees offer shade, making open grassland possible for many grazers. Dry tracks cut through the savannah, showing repeated paths to resources. Baobabs stand like reservoirs, storing survival through the long dry months. Their bare crowns frame sunset, while the landscape waits for cooler hours. At the horizon, silhouettes keep feeding as light thins to amber. Now lions return to view, resting where height gives easy awareness. Cubs share the ridge with adults, protected while they learn pride life. Two young lions appear at the edge, curiosity balanced by caution. A lioness rests nearby, keeping her cub within a safer radius. The cub's close stare reveals learning before confidence has fully formed. The pride gathers in shade, conserving energy through the day's heat. Siblings press together, turning contact into comfort and early social training. At the water's edge, an adult male moves with deliberate authority. Through reeds, a young lion follows, testing cover beyond the family group. A juvenile pauses in sunlight, still growing into the hunter it will become. A lioness crosses open flats, choosing steady movement over wasted effort. Her approach stays direct, suggesting purpose without revealing the target ahead. Shade and branches divide the pride, but watchfulness holds them together. Males rest beside females, where rank and tolerance quietly define space. In dry grass, a cub keeps low, learning stillness by imitation. The male patrols through golden scrub, turning presence into a boundary. A lioness faces the track, reading scent and movement before advancing. Another male moves through open ground, his stride calm but assertive. From tall grass, a lioness watches, using cover before any decision. The young lion rests alertly, energy saved for the next lesson. Across green flats, the lioness moves alone, scanning the open distance. The story shifts to a leopard, built for secrecy other than numbers. On the road, its spots break outline against dust and shade. In open scrub, the cat's light steps keep movements economical and quiet. A younger leopard follows cover closely, learning the value of concealment. Tree branches offer a safer refuge where leopards can rest above rivals. Back on the ground, it crosses quickly before the cover breaks. In the shade, the leopard rests low, hidden by dry stems. Young spotted cats wait together, using stillness before they master stealth. Filtered light turns rosettes into camouflage, helping the leopard vanish in grass. Perched on bare branches, it watches the ground from a secure height. In heavy limbs, the leopard can rest where stronger predators cannot reach. Another sheltered perch keeps food, cubs, or sleep above danger. In grass again, the leopard lowers its body before crossing exposed space. Along the fallen trunk, shade gives the hunter a brief advantage. Through tall stems, patience matters more than speed until the opening appears. The leopard slips deeper into cover, letting vegetation conceal each step. Green grass hides its outline, proving camouflage works best with stillness. Under the tree, rest becomes strategy, restoring strength between hunts. A high branch offers lookout and refuge in the same place. On the ground, the leopard moves carefully, reading scent along familiar routes. Dry scrub narrows the path, so every step remains measured. A close look shows alert eyes built for brief, decisive chances. Back in the branches, the leopard's height turns vulnerability into control. Faces in the canopy reveal how solitary cats still manage risk. Among tangled limbs, the patterned coat dissolves into broken shadows. On the ground again, the leopard searches without wasting movement. Branches overhead keep the hunter concealed, while it waits out the heat. Dunes replace woodland, showing how each habitat rewrites survival's rules. Wind shapes the sand, leaving little shelter and fewer easy paths. In sparse desert scrub, long-legged giraffes travel between distant feeding places. Open flats now favor cheetahs, whose survival depends on speed and timing. Two cheetahs move together, light-bodied hunters built for acceleration over strength. Beside the track, a cheetah uses cover before exposing itself. Low in grass, its face stays fixed on movement ahead. Across green plains, distance becomes the cheetah's first challenge before pursuit. Together in tall grass, the hunters choose patience over premature speed. At last, the cheetah releases its sprint, turning stillness into motion. At full stretch, specialization becomes both the cheetah's gift and limitation. After the sprint, the cheetah returns to caution, conserving every reserve. In cover again, stillness lets heat and breathing fall away. The open plain gives little cover, so distance becomes the next problem. For now, rest protects the speed that must be saved. Under the tree, the family stays grouped while the landscape settles. Movement resumes slowly, because strength is spent faster than it returns. Near cover, watching replaces motion until a safer choice appears. Even a small encounter shows how curiosity can interrupt a hunter's focus. Around the mother, younger cheetahs turn waiting into practice. Their contact keeps the group settled, strengthening bonds between brief lessons. Beyond them, open sand widens the challenge for any approach, so the family remains alert, reading the grass before moving again. Side by side, the young learn patience before they learn speed. Each obstacle becomes a lesson in balance and quiet control. Close to an adult, a cub's confidence grows within protection. Then the search resumes, low and deliberate through thicker grass. Here, cover matters as much as acceleration ever did. A pause in shade helps ration strength against the heat. With every step, sight and scent narrow the choices ahead. The head turns first, before the body commits to movement. From higher ground, even a fallen tree becomes a lookout. Water offers relief, but the cheetah keeps its senses open. As cover closes around one hunter, the story shifts toward hardier prey. At a shrinking waterhole, gemsbok gather where scarcity concentrates life. Here, every drink is taken with space and vigilance. Across dunes and pans, water draws different grazers into an easy company. Sharing the edge reduces risk, yet each species keeps its distance. Alone on pale ground, the gemsbok's body reflects harsh light. When grazing improves, the herd spreads without abandoning watchfulness. Their long horns organize spacing, defense, and quiet social order. Brief contact settles rank without the need for prolonged conflict. Even at water, one lowered head leaves another animal watching. On safer grass, feeding can widen into a calmer rhythm. By low sun, movement resumes along routes, shaped by memory. The masked face reads the open country before choosing direction. Near scattered trees, water still defines where the herd can linger. Shade gathers adults and young, buying relief during the exposed hours. From that shelter, the group prepares to move as conditions change. A solitary stare becomes surveillance, measuring distance before action. Back at water, gathering and resting remain part of survival. And in the open, entrance becomes the gemsbok's lasting advantage.